Why is it that when we set goals, even ones that we're excited about, we don't always have the motivation to crush those goals? It's an interesting problem because usually when we set goals, we're setting them for something that we're excited to achieve, to have less debt, to have better health, to finally finish the book or complete that project. Michelle Cederberg here with your weekly work-life recharge, talking about goals and the motivation that we need to crush them. Now, there are so many reasons why we don't get our goals completed, but I think one of the biggest ones is that life gets in the way. On any given day, you're going to have a long list of responsibilities that will drag you away from getting those goals done. And it can be emergencies and deadlines at work, it can be childcare, it can be those last minute necessities that you need to get done now. And when you finally get those tasks out of the way, more often than not, fatigue and distraction will continue to confound your goal completion efforts. It's not that we don't want to accomplish those goals, it's that we don't always give them the same level of priority as the urgent to-dos that pop up all day long. And so we find ourselves saying, I'll get to it when. I'll get to it when I'm not so busy at work. I'll get to it when the kids aren't so crazy with their schedules. I'll get to it when I'm not so darn tired. You can hear that, can't you? Now, I recently read an interesting study that talked about the fact that wanting what the goal will bring is not often enough motivation to help us get that thing. The study in the British Journal of Health Psychology assigned 248 adults to one of three exercise groups. A control group which kept track of how often they exercised over a 2-week period. Before they left, each person had to read the opening 3 paragraphs of an unrelated novel. Control. The second group was the motivation group, and they also had to keep track of exercise over 2 weeks and had to read a pamphlet on the benefits of exercise for reducing the risk of heart disease. They were also told most young adults who have stuck to a regular exercise program have found it to be very effective in reducing their chances of developing heart disease. Those actions were meant to motivate Group 2 to exercise regularly, and while, in my humble opinion, I think the promise of money or looking more attractive might have been a better motivator, it's not Group 2 that I'm interested in. Group 3, the intention group, was also told to track their exercise, they also had to read the pamphlet, and they also got the same speech about the effects of exercise on heart disease. Plus, and this is the part that I want you to pay attention to, they were also asked to formulate a plan for when and where they would exercise over the following week. For instance, during this next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on Monday at noon at my gym. When and where. And then off they all went. Now, 2 weeks later, only 38% of the control group had exercise at least once a week. I guess that's not surprising. In the motivation group, interestingly, only 35% had exercise once a week. I guess it's not surprising to me. And in the third group, 91% had exercise at least once per week. Now, simply by writing down a plan that said exactly when and where they intended to do their thing, they were more likely to follow through. I think that's an interesting thing to consider for any goal that you might have. It doesn't have to be exercise. When and where. Intention and the plan that came out of it produced far better results than motivation alone. If it was easy, we wouldn't need to write down those goals and set the when and where, but it's not always easy, so why not take that next step when you set those goals and get specific about when and where you are going to implement. Right now I'm writing book number 2, and after several false starts, I decided to apply this research to that project. So now, at the beginning of the week, I set my intentions. I'm going to pick at least 3 days where I'm getting up before 7, grabbing a coffee and a piece of toast, coming to this office and writing for at least 45 minutes. It's in my calendar, I've written it down, and since I started doing that, I'm writing more and I'm writing more often. Exciting. Dr. Heidi Grant Halverson, a researcher at Columbia University on success, says that deciding in advance when and where you will take specific actions to reach your goals can double or triple your chances of success. I like them odds. I mean, why set a juicy goal if you keep pushing it aside? Because goals are deceptive little things that get us excited for the outcome. But if you want the outcome, you have to develop a process that will help you get there. What goal of yours deserves a new implementation plan? Choose the goal and then decide when and where you're going to take that next step to crush that goal. Get it in your calendar and make it happen, and then let me know how it's going. Until next time, I'm Michelle Cederberg, reminding you that it's not the doing that's tough, it's getting to it. Amp up your success energy with a little bit of goal implementation. When and where. Write it down. You got this.